All right, welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Heroes Reborn After Review Show. Joining me is my co-host and moderator of the Heroes Reborn community is Jon. Thanks for joining again, Jon.
Absolutely a pleasure, Glenn.
All right, so we had one guest who was going to join us. She had to cancel. She had another commitment this evening. And we're waiting for Galaxy Man to join us. Galaxy Man, if you're watching, my friend, click the invite I've sent you, and it'll bring you right to the screen where we are. I think he's pretty familiar with on air, because I think I've seen on his YouTube channel he does the on air as well.
He posts
so, yeah. So let's see here. Well, we had a heck of an episode last night. Let's bring a picture up on the screen here. We'll kind of start off with some Mohinder. So how great was that to see an original come back, and with Angela and their little kind of to start us off with June 13th, Part 1. Mohinder meets Angela on a deserted roadway, and she's had a vision of what Erica's true intentions are. And Mohinder, in Mohinder fashion, doesn't believe what he's being told because he wants to be right. I think that's kind of a lot. It happened to him a lot in the original series. He always felt he was right going one way, but he was always wrong, and he wouldn't notice it till it was way too late. What did you think about seeing those two on screen last night?
I gotta say, it's nostalgia all over again. Mohinder, well, the actor who portrays him, looks like he hasn't aged either. And Angela, she looks like she hasn't really changed, except for the fact that her voice seems to be a little more hoarser and a little more coarse, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because she sounded like she had a cold or something of that nature.
Yeah, no, I like how her little picture on the back here with her, looks like her hairdo hasn't changed at all either. It's the same hairstyle as 45 years ago. So, but it was kind of nice to see these two kind of have their little moment on the screen there. Just nice to see the originals. It gave it a feel to the episode. I felt that this episode was probably one of the more not just explosive, just the acting in general was really good. I felt the storyline kind of came together. We've had these 6 episodes getting to know the characters. It was nice to kind of go back and we see the old guys in play. How did we get to where we are today? But just seeing those two together, it was really nice.
What's really interesting also is that, in a way, Mohinder is being Mohinder, and Mohinder really hasn't really changed. And his character, more or less, kind of just reminds me of how he was in the first season. But Angela, on the other hand, Mohinder was right in saying she's usually the one who's manipulating and pulling the strings. Only now, she's not really doing that. She's put in a position where, to be quite honest, she's kind of being shoved to the side. And that's a weird thing to think about when we think about Angela Petrelli.
Yeah, being the head of the family with the Petrelli family. Interesting family, lots of skeletons in the closet, so to say, with that family. They plotting, original series, she's plotting to kill her own son, or let him die to sacrifice to blow up the city. But yeah, her and Erica, maybe we'll see a little bit, maybe see them fight maybe in the next episode, but I don't think we're done with her quite yet. But yeah, definitely, it was just a real good vibe last night with those two. They kind of gelled. It was like they hadn't missed a beat, probably from working for 4 years together. But what else did they do here? So yeah, she tells him, oh yeah, well, if you go back to Renatus today, they're basically gonna put a bullet in your head in the basement, which they darted him and took him down to the basement, just as she said. So, as typical Mohinder, like you said, he hasn't changed. He doesn't listen. So they dart him, take him downstairs, and then we'll jump into that after what happens in the basement. So we got Hero back here. So this is kind of how he got put in that video game. The gentleman's name, I think, was Ochiro or Hichiro Otomo. So Hero is basically saying in this little capture here that he hasn't time traveled in a long time, which is kind of interesting to hear. That it sounds like he's been busy running the family business and he hasn't been trying to be a hero anymore. He's kind of it seems like he's given it up. He's too busy being a businessman trying to, live day to day, and he hasn't time traveled in a while. So I was kind of surprised. Do you think maybe he's kind of retired that?
I don't know if he was retired, but the way feeling I got when he was trying to explain himself, it sounds like he took a really long hiatus from being a hero. Maybe you're right, and he just needed to be a CEO and take over his father's place running the Yamagata Corporation. But maybe he just burned out in his own little way, and suddenly he gets thrown back into the whole entire notion of being a hero when he's practically kidnapped and forced into this virtual world.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, when I watched an episode last night and they showed the guy, because in the hero's world, anybody can have any kind of ability, which is kind of neat. But watching Otomo put Hero into the game, they kind of put that Miko first couple episodes, like, okay, this is why. Like, I know a lot of people were hating on the idea of a character in a game being a hero, but I just felt that once you saw this and when he put Hero inside the machine itself, I'm like, okay, now I actually enjoy Miko's storyline even more now, knowing that here's the backstory to it. Now we know that Miko actually was not alive. She was the daughter died years ago in a car accident. She's kind of a artificial intelligence that can come in and out of the game. But I just like the idea now that we actually get to meet the guy who built the game, and we're seeing that he was kind of behind everything. Well, he was behind what happened to Hero. He's the one that trapped him inside that game and made it impossible for him to get out. So, well, not quite impossible because he got out eventually with the help of Miko. And let's see what else we got on here. So we'll come back to Hero for sure because he had a really cool scene later on in the show. We're with the Luke and Joanne. So it's kind of so Dennis seems like he had some kind of reaction to the sunlight when they were in their hotel room, and he puts his hand in the sunlight and it kind of burns up. Now, do you think maybe Dennis had some kind of ability, or was he? I've never seen. I know people can have an allergic reaction to the sun, but I've never, burned up like that. And I know we're dealing with TV, but maybe did he have a power of some sort that we don't know?
Okay, so here's my theory, or my little, I guess you could say, thought pattern in this. Like you said before, Dennis seems to have an allergic reaction to sunlight, which I believe is actually a real sickness in some people. But this is basically, bred on steroids, this type of, this type of sickness. So here's an interesting dilemma. The son, Dennis, has an allergic reaction to sunlight. Meanwhile, us as the audience know that the father's power is basically to not only just absorb sunlight, but manifest it in heat, in expanding light, and somehow seem to jolt machines to life for some reason. Was it supposed to be evolutionary on the father's part and degeneration on the son's part? Is there a correlation, a causation? That's what I want to know too. If Dennis actually has powers was that the price? Um, was the sun allergy a price for the power that was going to manifest itself? I'm wondering about that as well.
Okay. That's actually, I like that. It's kind of like a Maya and Alejandro in season 2. She can emit poison, and then the brother could absorb it. So kind of like that kind of idea. Yeah. I think the father son power would have been kind of cool.
So it makes me also wonder, half of the genes came from the father, half of Dennis's genes came from the mother. Mother too, just under the just not fully evolved yet, or is she just strictly human? And for some reason, since I guess you could say a straight up human with an Evo making a child, is the child nullified in some way or balanced in some way when it comes to powers?
Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see what happens for sure, because we got a part 2 coming next week, and I imagine it'll expand on. I know in the commercial for next week they kind of showed them finding the sun, so we'll see what kind of happens next week. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see. Like, that's a good theory that maybe that was part of his power manifesting. Maybe him and the father played off of each other with their abilities. And kind of, yeah, there's so many things they can do. And like you said, maybe Joanne's got a power we don't know about. Maybe she's got something else. Maybe that's why she's really hateful. Maybe she has an ability she doesn't want, and maybe that's another reason for her hatred on top of losing her son on top of everything. We got a little shot here of the eclipse that they were all looking up at just before the big explosion. And Casper and Noah's scene was kind of funny. So it seems that they have a bit of a history. Looks like they've been working together for a few years with the one of them, one of us theory. And I like how he kind of got that security guard just to pick up that penny, no problem at all, no thought. And for some reason, I popped back to Carlos drinking the blood or whatever it was from the week before. Well, you know what this guy can do. You just casually pick up the penny and get your mind wiped out. So it was kind of funny. And then we got Noah here looking at the impending explosion that's going to come. And then we got the big boom. We got a shot of that somewhere here. There we go. So that was kind of I kind of like that scene when they showed they showed there was about 3 or 4 explosions in here. There was about 4 or 5 in here. Then there was one that exploded here. So there was a lot of people just in this area. So they probably killed a couple thousand people with that explosion alone. Not including, probably what's in behind there. But that was it reminded me of the season 3 Siler when he exploded. And you just kind of see that mushroom cloud go up, and it wasn't as, this was not as big as what Siler did, but that's what it reminded me of when I saw that. I said, oh yeah, people are dead, and you know why? They're going to blame the evolved humans for that. So that was kind of neat. And then we got Hero and Noah coming in the hospital, having a look at that. Now let's see what the next. Well, that one's still Luke looking for his kid. That was yeah. There's some. They're really tugging at the heartstrings in this episode. I don't know if you felt that as well. I felt between Luke and then what we're going to talk about right away. I felt that those were there were some emotional scenes in this episode.
So my thoughts were that the explosion happened. It kind of back to 9/11, and I'm wondering if they're trying to parallel that, especially when you see Luke rummaging through the debris and trying to find his son, and only to find the Evo that was with him at the time of the explosion. Felt a little bit like that. At the same time, it also kind of felt like the very first episode of Lost, in airplane wreckage.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but
I've only seen the first 2 episodes of that, so I know what you're talking about there.
so you know what kind of atmosphere that they were trying to provide, and I think they kind of pull it off, to be quite honest with you. And the fact that Dennis was eventually found and to have died was a little compelling to me, as well as the fact that what were the father, Luke, and Joanne's mindset before they entered the Evo convention. What did they feel? What were their views are? What were their attitudes about it? It was amazing to me that Lucas was actually more energetic and was actually, positive. He was so, idealistic, and he was so optimistic about the future. And compared to the very stone-faced and hardened and emotionless Lucas that we have now, who suddenly has his own twist of a fate, tried to commit suicide, and now trying to redeem himself. It seems like the show is trying to portray him in three different arcs or developments, mind you. And it's actually quite a fascinating character study.
No, I agree. And yeah, when you're mentioning about, we kind of see them in the hotel room prior to them going to the summit. And like you said, he's very optimistic. He's actually kind of saying maybe, hey, there's somebody there that can, with an ability that can help their son with his condition. Though Joanne's apprehensive about it, and you can even see that when they're at the summit, and she sees all the people behind them, and they're like, evils are evil, evils go home. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. We're okay. Just pay attention to this. This is what we're here for. We're here, we're here to be as one, kind of a unity. And he was very positive. And just to see him being a happy-go-lucky person through, the murderous man he became, and now, like you said, he's looking for redemption. I think we've only scratched the surface on him. I think with his character, I think I think there's a few more layers of Luke that we're going to see. I think we're going to see him evolve into a hero, and I think he may to make his redemption, he may sacrifice himself. I'm thinking down the road somewhere to save the world, or to save somebody, or to help with their mission, or help with the plan that Tommy and Melina seem to be set forth on.
Agreed. It kind of felt like, could they be setting up Lucas as a martyr, or someone who is willingly falling on his sword to redeem himself? It sort of feels like the show is pointing in that direction for him. Whether or not they will, that's anyone's guess, including yours and mine, Glenn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his wife is going to play a factor in if he's going to live or die, or if he's going to, I think, like I said, I think he's going to be the hero. I think Joanne is going to somehow play a big part in a decision or two that he makes coming forth in the next couple episodes. I don't know if she's going to push him to do something, or he's going to make an sacrifice to prove himself to her for whatever reason. Or I don't know what they're going to do with her, but because they haven't really, episode 6, they really didn't say much about, or she wasn't in the episode, so we don't know what direction she's going in yet. But I think we may still see her show up maybe on the Renata side. Who knows? She's a devoted evil killer, and that's kind of what they're looking for. They want somebody to round these people up. And we've got Mohinder. So here we are. This is Angela promised Mohinder. You're going to end up in You're going to end up in the parking lot with a gun to your head, and you're going to be dead. So they've got the classic power blocker up his nose. I still love those from season 3. So nasty when they pull them out. It's like 2 feet of tube up your nose. But
I wince every time they pull it out.
Yeah. It's like, takes like a big spaghetti noodle coming out.
Yeah.
So we got Hero with 2 swords showing up to save the day. I've been waiting for this ever since I seen it in the commercial where he's like, "What, you weren't expecting to see me?" I can't remember what his words were exactly, but I was waiting for him to take care of some Harris, and he did do a pretty good job at that at first until we realized he was kind of fighting a losing battle. Every time he cut a piece off, another clone showed up, and he kind of made it easier, I guess, for the plan to go through with because they said 6 bombs went off, so he essentially kept, splicing and dicing, and he kept making the clones that kind of help produce these, to get the bombs out. Because every time he cut a part off, like when he cut the clone's arms off, all of a sudden we got 2 more of them, and then there's one behind them, and I love that part there where he kind of gave him a double sword and feast on that, my friend. And he's kind of really become a badass, I believe. Like I remember in season 1 when he did that to Siler, when he put the sword through him, it took the whole season for him to build up the courage to do that. And now he's kind of back. He's mad. He's pissed. And he's, these guys put me in a thing. They're messing with the future. I'm going to take it out on them. I kind of felt that there was, if you weren't his friend, you were his foe. When you were in his way, he was taking you out.
So it made me think to myself, if only Hero actually used the gun instead of his usual katana blades, he might actually have different results. But, Hero being Hero, weapon of choice is going to be the blades. What I thought about, yes, he said, you can't stop us all. And he said, actually, I can. And he did.
Well, that was good. I like that. Yeah.
We're just like, it's kind of felt like, who do you think you're talking to? Me! Yeah. I can stop time! And he did. He's done it before. The only weird part about it was he was fluctuating when he was trying to get out of the garage. And I was wondering, what was that all about? Until I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. The Shadow, Mrs. Emo Goth Girl, was blocking powers, which in a sense blocked Hero's powers. And he was a little bit in the quagmire until everything blew up. Then he could resume his powers at the same time because, well, what he tried to stop eventually happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, because when he was flipping back and forth there, and he stops and he goes, "Oh, too many butterflies, too many butterflies." And it was almost like no matter what he was going to do, like it looked like he was going back and forth into the future. And no matter what he did to these Harris clones, it was like, no matter what I do, it's just going to either be worse or the exact same thing. So might as well just leave it as is. But I was quite happy with this part here where we got a yata. It was kind of, but it was like smooth. It was like, not one of these happy fist pumps in the air. It was like, I just kicked your ass, yata. So
it was the same thing. It was the same type of yata in season 1 when he plunged his katana blade into Siler.
That's right.
Yata.
I really love that. I got up this morning. I watched that scene about 3 or 4 more times, and I was like, this is just awesome. This is like stuff I've missed, like the action. And then Hero, I'm just glad to see future Hero. Well, kind of future. He's kind of like you say, a hybrid character right now. He's not quite. He's still kind of happy-go-lucky a little bit with his friends, but when he's with the enemy now, he's got a bit of future Hero to him. So
on top of that, he's missing the soul patch, what I remember from season 1.
That's right. That's right. He needs to grow the hair. But I like the ponytail. He's rocking the ponytail, and I love that look on him. So if they do another mini series of this, I'm really hoping they bring him back, and they can bring him back for more than 3 episodes, because this last episode, this one, and the next one, well, the two with him in it so far just really have made it more for something me to look forward to. I know a lot of people are like, oh, the originals. They did. So a lot of people, want to focus on the new people, but these are the Hero and Mohinder and the other guys what made the original. So I don't mind seeing them in there, helping these young guys along, the new ones along, and we'll see what kind of role they're going to play in the next episode. If Hero and the other ones have helped Tommy and Melina along at all, be interesting to see where they've gone with that. But let's see here. There's a happy Hero with Mohinder embracing his friend, saying, "Hey, kind of what he did with Noah." And then we've got the Harris clones, which was kind of funny. Now, what did you think happened to Mohinder? He didn't have his powers because, of course, Phoebe goes off just before the bomb goes off. Phoebe sends her dark cloud into the sky. Everybody's powers are not working anymore, and what was I going to say? She goes up, and the power goes, sends her power up into the sky, and just before the explosion, where was I going with this? Anyhow, this scene, with this scene here with the Harris clones. I just got distracted here again. But anyhow, we'll move on. So anyhow, there's.
Might I also point out about Mohinder, his powers weren't evolutionized. His powers were produced biochemically, if I remember correctly, from what was it, season 4?
Yeah,
season 4, I believe. So his powers weren't exactly natural in the sense of evolution, and suddenly the eclipse happened and suddenly he has powers. No, that didn't happen with him. His was injected into him through a syringe, I believe, was made through chemically in a laboratory. So if we're going to go by that sort of forethought, when the Shadow was nullifying powers, I guess it actually has limits, because Mohinder was able to punch very effectively despite being blocked. So maybe that is a loophole in the Shadow's powers, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that brings me back to the point I was going to make. Was, do you think? I'm not sure. Like you said, like his power is synthetic, I guess we can say. Do you think he died in the explosion? That's where I was going to go with my earlier point where I lost track. Do we think he's dead? Because if his power was not an actual, I know they were trying to replicate in season 3. They're trying to replicate the power with these injections. It's like, yeah, it's exactly the same, but no, it was still injected. It wasn't like these other everybody else. I don't know how the others just were chosen, or were they injected. They never really got into the helix and all that whatnot. But do we think Mohinder's dead?
Believe he's dead? I'd like to think that somehow he escaped. Mohinder is a pretty crafty person, and let's face it, after 5 seasons and he survives, you have to be that crafty. Yeah. I'd like to think that he somehow survived. I don't think we'll be seeing the end of Mohinder Suresh.
Oh, I hope not either. When he got his powers, I don't think they used them enough. I know in season 4, he was planning an early exit out of the series. From my understanding, he had another job offer, and he didn't think Heroes was going to go into a season 5, so he didn't play as big a role in season 4. And it was kind of a shame, because now he's got this super strength and he can jump, and he's kind of got that kind of animal instincts to him, and they didn't really use him that much. And I was kind of hoping, we got a little bit of a show with him punching Harris around in this episode, but I'm hoping maybe if he survived, maybe we'll see him in the next episode, and we'll get to see a little more action. Because not only is he strong, but the guy's got he's super smart on top of everything. you'd think he'd be able to get himself out of that kind of a situation, because he had probably about a minute window from when we see him in this last frame until the explosion. So you'd hope either, because I know Harris and them had a time they're going to go off at. So would they set the bomb off really just to kill Mohinder? Probably not. The big thing was getting rid of everybody up top, or the big bang was upstairs. So I don't know. I'm hoping we see Mohinder again. I hope that's not the end of him.
Agreed. For all we know, he could just be in the cracks of that explosion. He's been caved in, but not dead.
Yeah.
One way of looking at it, I guess you could say, as a theoretical point on how he could survive.
Yeah. No. Or maybe he's slightly trapped under something, and then his power comes back, and he can easily lift all that crap off of him and get out of there. But I thought there was one thing I didn't get a shot of. It was the flying guy from the season 1 episode that cut his hand off. It was kind of funny to see him flying in at the beginning there, and he kind of lands and like, oh yeah, I know how you're gonna die. I know how you're gonna die. I know how you're gonna die. So
exactly. And be like, man, I wish you had more screen time, buddy.
Yeah. they're giving all these little short cameos to everybody that was definitely going to be dead. Like I remember in the first episode, they showed the invisible guy 3 or 4 times at the summit and running in the water, and then he's at the meeting, and I think we've seen him in this last episode. But yeah, no, just to know that the certain ones are going to meet a certain fate in the future, which obviously hasn't changed. So that was one thing too. Hero not being able to stop the bomb, and Noah not being able to save Claire. Nothing's changed, so we're still going to get that timeline where, the Haitian will die, Molly will die, Quentin's going to die. So I'm kind of happy about that, because that's one thing in the Heroes verse I did not like that much was, if you're going to kill a character, kill him off, give him a good death, and then let's move on. Let's not Nathan Petrelli and have you come back 4 times. If they would have killed Nathan off in season 2 or 3, I would have been upset about it, but I would have accepted it because, yeah, he's a big player. It's kind of like Walking Dead. They kill off the big names occasionally, and it's expected. It's got to happen. Even in comic books, the big name superheroes have died here and there, and they've been replaced by somebody else. In the Heroes verse, from my understanding was, I think we've talked about this, was each season was supposed to be a whole set of new characters. They were all supposed to be, some are going to die, some are going to live, but the next season was supposed to be a whole set of new heroes, a new storyline, a new reason to save the world. But being that the first season was so huge, they kept everybody and they scrapped that whole idea. Let's see what we got next. We've got Tommy's mom here, the nurse. I forgot that she was a nurse. And she has told Noah, your daughter died giving childbirth, but your grandkids are okay. So that was a big surprise. He hasn't seen his daughter in 4 years, and all of a sudden he's a grandfather, and the kids no longer have their mom. Now, I know Tommy's mom says something to him about she had a stroke or a seizure or something during childbirth. Now, is it? And I believe it's prior to the explosion. So, and I know there's all the different theories about how she can't die, and we've heard before, or Siler said it in season 3 when he got her power. It's like, I couldn't kill you even if I wanted to. You can't die. So she's dead. They've made it she's dead, but we don't know what exactly were the circumstances to the death. Could it be related to the pregnancy, that the children somehow absorb her power in the womb? What are your thoughts on that, John? Because I know for myself, I'm kind of on the fence of, Yes, she can. To me, I'm a yes. That yes, she can die. Even though I don't think I don't want her dead because she's a very important character. But I do think that there's got to be a way to kill each character, even like a Siler. He's got the same ability, but if they killed him, like he came back and they killed him, I would accept it, even though it would really piss me off.
Okay, so we do know that Hayden Panettiere is basically, I guess you could say, on her own hiatus.
Yeah.
Nothing that can be helped on her part because, well, postpartum depression is recognized by the DSM-5 and by all psychiatrists and all psychologists. So I always thought she's not going to make a cameo. No way that she can. Even for the briefest of 5 to 10 minutes, it's not going to happen. So I wasn't surprised by that picture that you have behind you that Noah does not pull back the sheet. It's not going to be her. It's just going to be a body double. It felt really, really, really like we know it's not her. And we thought if he pulled it back, a glimpse of her at least, but no. I guess maybe to even Noah, he can't even pull back to uncover the face of his own daughter, which is to say that it felt kind of cheap but understandable. Now, here's a question that I have to ask because it still remains to be seen. We know that she dies. I don't accept it. I'm pretty sure you don't accept it, although maybe you'll take it on the surface. I don't accept it. I don't accept the fact that she could die from a seizure or a heart attack. I'm sorry. I just cannot swallow it. Something is not right here, and I'm pretty sure the writers are not showing us their full deck, not showing us their hand. Somehow this is going to be at some play. Now, with that being said, now that it is revealed that Nathan and Melina are actually son and daughter of Claire, and Hero takes them back in time because he said we're going to party like it's 1999, have them grow up in the present time, being 15 to 16 years old, and now they're searching. Now Melina is searching for Nathan, and I had this weird theory about a weird love triangle, only to find out, nope, it's brother and sister. So I guess I screwed up on that theory, but hey, I make mistakes too. I can sometimes be wrong. I'll be fine enough to admit it. Here's the thing that I want to know: who is the father?
Yes. The first thing that came to my mind was West from the Flying Guy from season 2, because that was really her only love interest aside from her girlfriend that she actually has in season 4. She doesn't really have much of a boyfriend except for that one guy. West was the only guy that I remember.
Well, here's the thing, though. We all know that Claire's love life is just about as, I guess you could say, troubled and tragic as Hero's.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that Hero and I have to admit, full disclosure, I am a Claire and Hero shipper. You know that, of course. Yeah. But like I said, I bet you the writers aren't going to play it that way. Okay, fine. So who is the father? And let's face it, whoever that guy is, my guess is he's either probably dead or imprisoned, or maybe the writer's just not going to reveal him whatsoever, for all I know, leaving it at a plot hole. But for some reason, I'm just like, who is this guy? What happened in those 4 years that Noah Bennett did not talk to his own daughter? Does the hospital have any records? Was it one of the Evos at the convention? Or not at the convention? Maybe he's still alive. I'm not exactly too sure. All these weird questions, and how many episodes we have left? Sorry. I don't know if we're going to get those answers.
No, you're right. Yeah, and going to who be the father is, if he's alive, we may see who it is, because he's going to want some he's gonna want some vengeance for his wife or girlfriend or whatever they were. They haven't really explained. Noah doesn't know anything, so he can't tell us anything. But I'm sure the father of the kids, he's gonna want to A, find the kids, and B, maybe get some vengeance for his girlfriend slash wife being, killed. Because I don't think, like yourself, I don't believe she died from the childbirth. Maybe they'll tell us something in the story, because it's not, Phoebe blocked her power, yes, but as Noah said when he talked to the doctor, he goes, she's not dead. She has a spot in the back of her head. He goes, let's go. I want to check it. And the doctor's saying, like, no, there's nothing. She's just dead. She died from, whatever. I think it was a seizure, they said. I mean, it's reminiscent of season 3, was it, with the eclipse? Yeah, where she kind of went into a seizure when her powers were gone, and basically every disease and every broken bone and everything hit her at once. She kind of had that little bit. But I know I agree with everybody saying, yes, when the eclipse happened, when the power blocked and it came back, she was alive. I think there's something, like you said, the writers are holding on. They've got their little hidden card that we're going to get thrown at us in a bit to really explain it. The only thing that I can think of has something to do with the children. Like, I don't know. I'm really perplexed as how she died. But as I said, I didn't want Claire to die. And another, like you just mentioned, he didn't take the cloth off. They could have even did a still frame of her from one of the seasons where she was in a hospital. She was in the hospital a couple of times on the gurney. They could have did a shot of that, and to cover her face. I'm like, well, she didn't die a bloody death in the childbearing room. I don't know why you would cover her face up unless that's just what they do. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll have to get some real answers to her death, because a lot of people I've been reading in the forums and whatnot online, they're really pissed off that she's dead, and if that's how she died. I guess it wasn't the death that they wanted, but I don't know. I agree with you. There's something we're not seeing, and I'm hoping that they will explain it in greater detail. And let's hope that maybe Hero can. And like, what you're saying with Hero and Claire shipping, I keep thinking Tommy's a teleporter. That's such a, very close to what Hero can do. Maybe they did hook up somewhere down the line, because they didn't really explore them in the original series. They only were on screen in a few episodes together, not a whole lot of screen time. But that would make sense to me. Tommy's a teleporter. And and then Melina's we can regenerate life, which I guess Claire could regenerate herself, so she can make, she kind of Melina's power reminds me of the guy in season 4 that Samuel had, when they were out in the middle of nowhere and it was all dust and dirt, and he had this one guy he brought into the carnival. He did the same thing. He could touch the ground, and he built trees and land and grass and, his beautiful mountainside scape. And this is what Melina can do, but at a higher scale by the seams of it. Now, there was something interesting in this part of the show here when Noah is discovered. Now he remembers what he was trying to hide all along, or why his memory was wiped. It was to hide the kids, Nathan and Melina. There was something in this scene that stuck with me. Whoops, let me go the right way. When they're naming the kids, you probably noticed it too. Angela says, name the boy Nathan after the son I've lost. So she's the son I've lost, not the sons or anything like that. So to me, that gave me hope that, if this series goes on, it sounds like Peter's alive from that statement, from the son I've lost. I don't know what you think about that.
Interesting point. I never actually considered that.
I'd be really happy if Peter came back. I don't know if you heard. I try not to follow. I follow Milo on Twitter and on Facebook, And there was an interesting picture with him today. They've announced a Gilmore Girls. I never watched the show. I know my wife watched the show. I can't be. Even though he's on it, I'll never watch it. They're doing a reunion 4-episode Netflix series, and that was something he said he would never do. Oh, I'm not. He goes, oh, I'm not going to go revisit Gilmore Girls either. He goes, it's just like Heroes. Why would I go back? And all of a sudden now he's back going to Gilmore. He's going to do those 4 episodes on Netflix. Will Peter maybe come back then? I don't know. I would like to think so. Now that he's made this leap with the other one, he's going to be in all 4 episodes. He could have made a cameo in this for all we know. I don't know. Somebody was talking to David Lawrence, the 8th or whatever his name is, the guy who played the Puppet Master in the original series. He was asked today, "Are you going to be in Heroes Reborn?" And he said, "Even if I was, I couldn't tell you because I'm contractually obligated not to say anything about the series." So Milo's been like talking crap about not being invited, and I just find it hard to believe that Hayden and Milo were not invited back to this series. It just makes no sense to have if Zachary Quinto was invited, why weren't the other two? They're both saying that they were not invited to the show, but I think Hayden ran into an issue because she had her postpartum depression, and that maybe derailed her appearance. Maybe, I don't know. But Milo, the Whispers got canceled, so he's got lots of free time. So, but anyhow, that was just my little rant on that. I thought I saw that, and I thought it'd be interesting if they do another season. There's a possibility he can come back, because it sounds like only the one son is dead. So just kind of left that part open.
Well, from what I actually read behind the scenes, when it came to Milo, and obviously I guess it's a little bit creepy when you think about, Peter Petrelli dating his own niece. Getting into Game of Thrones incest type of situation.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad Heroes stayed away from. Thank God. Anyway, it sort of felt like, would it be awkward for Milo and Hayden to work together again? I'm not too sure what they really thought about that. Will Milo be okay? Will Hayden be okay? On top of that, before the postpartum depression, Hayden was still, I believe, contractually obligated to Nashville. That might be another really big factor in her not coming back to Heroes Reborn. I'm not exactly too sure, but that's also my theory as well. Now, with that being said, like the Puppet Master said, they're contractually obligated to keep their mouths shut. You could just say Milo was doing a little bit of a misdirection, or he just flat out lied, if he is going to come back.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's very hard to say, because, it's when Milo, or it's not Milo, when Massey was doing the Facebook Q&A the other day, somebody asked, he got asked 100 times, is Siler going to show up? And he flat out said, no, not going to happen. Which I can see that, because he's got movies and other TV shows he was doing, so it kind of makes it tough for him to do. But and then with Hayden, like Nashville, I guess maybe they may have just said, we're not going to share her. CBS was with Massey, was like, yeah, we'll share him, no problem, but only for 3 episodes. Whereas Nashville would have said, no, you're not getting our star for anything, no matter what you have to offer. We're not going to share her. No, it'd be interesting to see. I think the ratings did go up a little bit this week, it made me happy, because last week they dipped to 3.8 million. This week they were right at the 4 million mark, so it's gone up a little bit. So with Masioka coming back, I'm thinking that helps quite a bit, which made me happy, because I want to see this continue as a mini series. I'll take a mini series each year if that's what they're willing to do. I know it'd be tough for them to do a full 25 episode season again, just because of they said it's just too much story to write. And I can kind of see it. They don't have a comic book series that they're dragging this from. They're making it up as they go. And I don't know if the writers just never wrote on comics, or what their backgrounds are. But there was some filler in those 4 seasons. Like there was a lot of good episodes, but there were some filler episodes, and you could when you watched one, you knew what you were watching. You knew it had nothing to do with the connecting story you were watching, just something to keep you occupied till next week. Let's see here. We got a couple of the teleport. There we go. And Hero's there, and Hero's gone. But interesting to see Noah 2014 seeing Noah 2015, and he follows Erica into the back room and is essentially going to put a bullet in the back of her skull. And then Noah 2014 comes running up behind, and appears to me where they cut off is he's going to tackle himself to really stop his future self from crushing a real big butterfly. To me, that was a miss. I would have let him do it. What do you think? I would have just let him pull the trigger. That would have saved a lot of people being, because we know that there's up to 600 of these evolved humans imprisoned because of her. If you take her out now, maybe that's not going to happen.
Okay, so here's my thoughts on this. Past tense, Noah, basically, we saw the scene where she said, guess what? You're sitting out. You're going to be benched. I'm putting you behind the scenes now. And I guess for that matter, past tense Noah was basically, he was mad about it. He was pissed off about it. But in the end, he didn't exactly put up too much of a struggle. Even when I guess you could say, Penny person was about to wipe his memory, I guess revenge wasn't exactly on the top of his mind. Now, when we see future tense Noah going after her with a gun and a silencer that he screwed on for this special occasion, I have no idea how. I guess with his gun, he carries around his silencer as well for personal, discreet killing. Noah the Hitman. Excuse me. What I find was interesting was you have a classic cliffhanger of to be continued before that tackle happened. Now, here's the thing. You are correct. I do believe crushing that big butterfly would send shockwaves that Hero warned about. But you can't necessarily blame future Noah, considering the fact she was nonetheless basically a manipulative SOB who would let the human race extinguish itself through that solar flare, and only her select few would live. I can't exactly blame future Noah for doing what he wanted to do or is going to do. With that being said, does Erica play a bigger part in this sometime in the future if she's still going to be kept alive? Who knows? She might be the Gollum in Lord of the Rings, for all I know.
Yeah, no, very true, very true. No, it'll be interesting. I'm actually anxiously awaiting next week's episode. I'll play the trailer for next week here. I'll just connect this up and hello YouTube. But I don't know. I just find that as each episode goes on, the show is getting progressively better and better. So I'm quite happy with what's developing. Let's see if I can get this playing for us here.
They couldn't save her.
Oops.
But Moon was born. They couldn't save her. But New Hope was born.
When the time comes, these children will save the world.
By altering the past, have they torn the fabric of time?
We have to keep our kids safe at all costs. You have no idea what changes can happen into the future. Hello, Noah. What do you say for those?
Heroes born. All men.
So that was interesting. We saw older looking, gray-haired, streaked hero. I know he went back in past to 1999 with Tommy, or Nathan, I should say. So he's aged a few years, but I don't think he's really aged. I don't know if time travel's just really hit him hard. But also, we're going to get some Matt Parkman next week by the looks of it. Looks like we see another Angela scene in there at least. And then we see in that clip there was Harris holding Tommy with a gun and Hero going. You can see Hero briefly with his two swords going. Looks like he's about to go sideways on somebody. So be interesting to see what happens next week. I'm like, I don't want to wait. This is one of those shows I wish it was on Netflix because I binged the heck out of it. So
We all would.
I know a lot of people are saying they wish this series was on Netflix so that they could binge watch it. I kind of don't mind because then I don't watch it all at one time. Like I love, like when Daredevil came out on Netflix, I spent 3 days. I watched, I think, 3 or 4 episodes a night, and I was done. And I was like, oh man, I got to wait a whole year for this. But sometimes I just get impatient. I'm like, but we'll see what happens next week. I'm anticipating some good action,
And I don't know if you noticed in the previews, we have the Shadow Lady to come back. So
yes,
she plays a role.
yes. So I wonder. I'm just crossing my fingers we don't lose another big character. That's all. I can handle losing a Parkman. I don't want him to go, but I can handle it. I don't want to lose Hero or I don't want to lose. Even Angela. Don't really want her to go either. But I have a funny feeling we're going to lose another original in this next coming episode. So maybe it might be Mohinder. Maybe he will come back and we'll lose him again. But interesting to see what happens. I've been enjoying it. I know you probably have been enjoying it as well. So it's kind of. I just want to see this series do well, and I want them to come back next year. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's just a one-time thing." NBC knows if it makes them money, they're going to keep doing it. They'll go back to it 100 times if they have to. Take a 5-year hiatus if they have to, but they'll bring it back. They own the name. They own the brand. They'll bring it back when the time is right. But I don't want another 5-year lull. Give me 3 or 4 more seasons, and I'll be happy. If you want to cancel it or take it off the air, but I just find that it's going in a good direction right now, and people should be happy with what they're seeing. So we'll see what happens, I guess.
Indeed, we will. Funny thing about it is, even though it's a miniseries, you kind of get the feeling that they want to milk this cow as much as they can now that they brought it back. But at the same time, there's always pluses and minuses when they do that. By that, I mean, yes, us Heroes fans, we are saved by another season. But at the same time, please don't make the mistake that you made in season 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Namely, you were making stories that just went zigzagging all over the place. And we're just like, I lost the direction. What was this? What is this season all about again?
That's what I was saying. There was a lot of filler. It was like we're heading in one direction. All of a sudden, we're getting there too quick. Boom. You're going to enjoy this episode today about villains. Boom. You're going to enjoy this side story about this character. It's like, no. Arc me right. 3 acts. We get there. We get what we want, the payoff. So, but yeah, no. We'll see what happens. I just really hope that next week it picks up even more. I'll be happy if the numbers go up because right now, like I was looking at they call it TV by the numbers, and they usually predict if shows will come back. And Heroes Reborn does have a 4 out of 5 right now, and they predicted that the player was going to get canceled, and that show has been canceled. It's going to go another couple more episodes, and it's done, and they're going to bring in another show. That Jennifer Lopez cop show is going to come in and take its place, so in its time slot. So these guys are pretty good at predicting it. So even though the numbers are very low, they're saying it is a mini series. Not expecting 15, 20 million to watch it every week because they weren't doing that even in the original series. So the 4 to 5 million range is a good number, and they can sell merchandise, they can do DVDs, they can do all this other jazz with it. So I'm just hoping it does well.
Same here.
Yeah. Well, Jon, I think we've covered everything this evening, and it's a shame that Galaxy Man couldn't show up and be with us tonight. Well, we'll try him again next week and see if we can get him on the show. But I think we've got Giselle more than likely with us next week, so hopefully she'll have some free time. And in the meantime, anybody else that wants to come on, Jon and I are always open to anybody coming on and sharing their opinions and giving us some their input on the show. So don't be shy. We don't bite. Yeah, so I don't know. Anything you want to add, Jon?
Please come. We would love to have questions, comments, thoughts. We would love to encourage you. Because me and Glenn, we want different perspectives. We want different points of views. Maybe me and Glenn have a blind spot, and you, the audience, can point it out for us. So we could actually say, oh, we never thought about that. That is a great point. Let's explore that. For us, for us, the fans, because me and Glenn are ultimately fans, we like discussing the issues that matter with Heroes and Heroes Reborn, that mean the most to us, that makes this show very special. And we want to discuss it with you, the audience. So please, come and join me and Glenn. We would love to have your company.
All right. With that, I bid you all a good night. Have everybody that's watching. I see we've got a few viewers down here in the corner, so that's good to know. And everybody have a good Halloween tomorrow. And we'll see you again this time next week. And Jon, again, thanks for helping me host.
This is the Heroes Community signing off.
And good night.
Good night.